Thank you for watching the Comedy at the Creek podcast, brought to you by Country Creek Reception Hall and Beer Plug Entertainment Productions. I'm your host, Jason Pierpoint. Our guests today are Ree Ledbetter and Charlie Wollborg.
I
love pizza. What's your favorite kind of pizza?
Olive.
Well, I'm talking about like style. Like, are you a Chicago thin crust?
I like thin crust.
New
yeah.
York.
Oh, I do like. Well, New York is pretty thin.
New York's thin.
On the scale of thin. I mean, there's like thin where it's crispy, but then there's thin. Like I like a New York slice.
What's your,
large.
you
thin
want like Cipinos, or you like Crispellis, or where's your jam in town? Anywhere? No.
There's so many different types of pizzas in so many places.
Welcome to our new podcast. Ree fucking hates this. We'll mention a popular food, and Ree will make a face.
So it's like a thin cracker crust tavern style pizza?
We don't have
Sometimes.
to bring race into this. Why are you calling me a cracker? Jeez.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Why are we talking about pizza, anyways?
Well, I think
pizza's good.
well,
Pizza's universal.
there's some people around here that think that like deep dish pizza that has a bunch of shit on top of it is just basically lasagna with bread underneath it.
That makes sense. I would probably agree with those people.
Yeah.
There's not bad pizza. I'll take
No.
thick. I'll take thin.
Well, no, I'd have to disagree. There's some pretty bad pizza.
Party store pizza.
We probably get in trouble for talking about pizza. 'Cause
it's just
I get,
it's a scale of how many beers you've had. You know, like
yeah.
I didn't think you drank.
your tolerance goes up. I'll have a cocktail.
Oh, okay.
I think Jon Stewart has the greatest argument against thick pizza. He's like, I want to know if I pass out on my pizza, I'm not going to drown. That's why he only eats thin. And he's from New York.
Well, we'll get screamed at from Darius and Rio. They'll be like, "Why are they talking about
About
pizza?
pizza.
God damn it, that's our
thing.
That's
yeah.
our jam. Why are you doing that?" They're going to be like, "This is the best pizza anyway." You can't talk to Darius about pizza anyway because he's from Chicago, so he thinks that he's
It's
the
Chicago.
king. Chicago's the king of the pizza. I was like, I don't know.
Detroit pizza is like
Lou
getting
Malnati's
big.
is amazing.
Yeah.
It really is. Like there's a lot of people
When you
foodies
travel, you'll
like
find
paying
Detroit,
attention
yeah.
to it.
Yeah. Well, you watch those Dave Portnoy videos. You know who Dave Portnoy is?
No.
He's like the guy that
doesn't get
runs
toppings,
Barstool.
though. Pizza without toppings.
Yeah, he
is
doesn't.
I do like a good
a cheesy
actually
bread
I
review.
do like a good New York style just plain cheese. I do. It's delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, my family, my wife's family's from out in Pennsylvania by the Poconos.
okay.
So we go out there and you get those big, huge, like 20-inch pizzas that only have like 4 slices.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the sausage that's on those is a killer. It's like this sliced Italian sausage, and they just chop it all up, and it's big slices on there. It was funny because when my granddaughter was born, I was actually sitting in the pizza shop, and my my stepdaughter and her mom and everybody came running into the pizza shop to pick up a pizza, and her water broke in the pizza shop.
Oh.
So they had to run out and take her to the hospital, and that was
That's cool though.
That's my pizza
Congratulations
story.
on the baby.
Gross. That was a long time
Wait,
ago.
the baby's gross?
We have a bonus topping now.
I just told them at the pizza place I'm not cleaning that up. So they were like, "What the hell is that all
There's too
about?"
much sauce on my pie.
Well, yeah. Hey, anyway, we are here at Comedy at the Creek, number 18. I got to turn this down because my shit's beeping at me. We're at Comedy at the Creek 18. I've got Ree Ledbetter and Charlie Wollborg. Is that close enough?
That's great.
I didn't.
Wait, how do you say it?
It's Wollborg.
Okay, because
Most
I feel
people
like
say
everyone.
Berg.
Oh, do they?
They do.
Oh, okay.
Trust me.
Vowels are interchangeable. It's like
Oh, okay.
I've been practicing.
vowel
There's like
fluid.
an O in there. That's why I was like,
Yes.
where'd they get in the Berg? Okay, fair enough. I suck at these, by the way, guys.
Whenever
so-
I hear your name, I just think of Pearl Jam. Though.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
That's a great song too.
Yeah.
Ree Ledbetter. Who's
So-
calling yellow?
Well, I'm glad you guys could come up.
You're going, why the hell did I bring Ree?
No, you're good. She's just gonna be sitting there like this the whole time.
Yeah, I'm gonna be like, all right, they're just gonna talk, I guess.
I'm not blowing smoke. Although I was out in the parking lot a second ago. I tell every new comedian I meet, like, oh, if you can go to Jason's show in Diamonddale, this is
the
the
best.
most fun room.
This is so much fun. This is
room
the most
just
fun.
comes to laugh.
Yeah,
I mean,
well, I'm sure everybody who does this says the same thing, right? Nobody's like, yeah, this place sucks, but I needed the extra cash this week, so thanks for having me, Jason.
Yeah. Everybody has a pretty good time out
It
here.
is.
I don't think we've ever had any like major like meltdown or anything from anybody. I mean,
Right.
the closest thing I had is I had a comic that walked one of our sponsor tables once, but I thought that was hilarious. So I think that stuff is funny. It doesn't.
Yeah.
That shit doesn't bother me at all.
I do have to say, now the first time you booked me, as I pulled in, I thought, holy shit, he's taking my kidney. Because you come in, it was like lawn equipment and then like an impound lot, and like, this is not a comedy club. And then you get to the back and you see the
Yeah, it's
the
definitely
reception hall.
not centrally located in
Yeah.
the sprawling metropolis of any city, but hey, you know, the people from Diamonddale like to come out here.
And that's what's fun about it, right? Because there's not a lot of competition. So when they come, they just come to laugh and have a good time. And I've never had a bad time here ever.
That's
Well,
how I
that's
met
good.
my wife. Low competition was, that works in my favor.
Right. So you guys are both from the Detroit area.
Yep.
Okay. I there's so many comics that come rolling in here and we're from Detroit. I'm like, that doesn't
No,
there's
yeah.
127 places in Detroit.
We're
Yeah.
Detroit-ish.
Detroit-ish.
Adjacent.
So are you Waterford?
No, but I spent a lot of time at Stan's.
Okay.
I'm up in LO, Lake Orion. Right, I'm in the
Okay.
shadow of the ghost of the Palace of Auburn Hills, right near there.
Okay. Where you live?
I'm most adjacent. I'm in Grosse Pointe Woods.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I'm most adjacent to
Grosse
Detroit.
Pointe Woods. Anything that has like a gross or a saint in front of it. So your house is like over 3,700 square foot.
No, I live in the woods. That's the regular Grosse Pointe. I always tell people, yeah, I'm from the ghetto of Grosse Pointe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think anyone lives.
And I think that's how they see us, so it's okay.
if you live within a mile of Grosse Pointe, they call it Grosse Pointe Bluffs.
Yeah. Well, my house was built in like 1902, so it is a big hunk of shit. So it definitely probably would not fit in some of those places.
It's not nice, but we have a lot of it. So.
Yeah. I have the tallest house on my block, though, so that that gives people something to look up to. But so. What is going on out in that direction? I know.
We have a new comedy club that just opened in Detroit.
Seriously?
Yes, it is the Comedy Bar.
You brought notes.
I did because it was. So
You're
they
the first person who's
they
brought notes.
They just had their opening weekend, and so it's thecomedybar.com/Detroit.
Okay.
And right now they're like bringing out people from Detroit or from Chicago because they have a presence in Chicago.
Oh, wow.
The best thing that everyone that I talked to, they had like this open house and a bunch of the comics, we came out and they're like, oh my God, it's so easy to park. And I think parking is like $6 or something. You got to pay cash, but who cares, right?
Yeah.
You can park right at the venue. Whereas like Detroit's House of Comedy, it's you're competing against sports
Yeah.
and the Fox, and it's just really easy. And so I really hope it does really great, I'm
That's
sure
awesome.
it will.
I showed up for an open mic at House of Comedy once, and it was $40 to park for 3
Yeah.
minutes.
Oh, my
Isn't that
gosh, are
right?
you
It's
serious?
wild. It's absolutely wild.
But so the new spot, Scott Rutterbush started the Norwood, which is this great event space, and then they
Yes.
kind of merged
Yes.
with Comedy Spot or Stop. I can never
No,
get it right.
it's the Comedy Bar.
Comedy Bar.
Yeah.
Comedy Bar.
So is it like
So
it's
it's a
legit?
cool-
Like
it's
they
a
got
cool
like
venue.
national touring
Yes.
comedians coming
Yep.
in. That is awesome.
Yep.
Always great to have a new place
Have
like
you
that.
fallen down the stairway yet?
No, I have not.
Yeah,
And
don't
it's
do
beautiful. It's really cool down there. Like it's just really nice. They got a nice stage. I know people were really excited about it when I was there, and so I didn't get to perform because I was already booked.
Yeah.
But it was it was a really good time.
That's a good
Just
deal.
even the I don't know what the heck you call it. We went there and we had drinks and we socialized, and
Is that pretty close to where you live?
it's close enough. Yeah.
Like home
It's-
club
it's-
type close?
Yeah. Well, it's because where I'm at, like everything kind of goes like this. So if I go this way and take a right, I go to Ridley's. If I go this way and take a left, I can go to the Norwood. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's where I get so jealous of you guys that live out in Detroit or Grand Rapids. I'm like, it's so easy, I mean, I know traffic out there can suck sometimes,
Yeah.
but, when you have someplace, it's within 10, 15 minutes and need a direction to
It's
go work
nice.
out.
Yeah.
It's like I got Max, I got the Weekly Crunch. I love
Right.
those places, and that, but, it's not like they're getting the big national touring headlining
Well,
comedians coming in, that
sorry.
I can go see on a Friday night,
We are international touring comedians.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
International?
Because Canada.
Oh, that's right.
We could go 15 minutes into Canada.
I've done a
so-
few shows in Canada.
They have great crowds there
Yeah,
as well.
they really do. I did one in London and then typically just Ontario, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
They just heckle you in the most nice way.
yeah, they're like,
They're like, we don't like you,
Yeah.
okay?
Well, I thought it was funny.
Not funny,
like
eh?
The go-to joke in Canada is that Americans are dumb. That's like their.
They
Okay.
might be onto something.
Yeah.
Don't they know that they're all going to be Americans apparently soon? I don't know. I don't talk about politics on here. But they would make a little joke though. So do you guys get out to Canada quite a bit, or?
I mean, I don't really do like open mics as much as I used to because I'm usually doing shows every week,
Yeah.
and so I can just kind of like fit new stuff and try it. But when I do, I don't even know where Canada is right now. Because I don't know where they're like. The last time I was there,
It's
I did
not a mobile home. It stays in the same
I did the
spot.
festival, but then they were closing it down, and I
Right.
don't
Oh,
know.
okay, they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I don't know where even I wouldn't even know where to go at this point, just because. Do you know where they went?
Yeah, they moved a couple miles away.
Oh, okay.
I've
In a mobile
never.
home?
They
You know
used to
what's
be
weird
right down to.
is I've never heard about an awful lot of comedy clubs in Canada, but you always hear about the festivals. Like they were
Yeah.
huge on comedy festivals in Canada. So I don't. Is there a lot of clubs like right
Yuck
across the
Yucks
bridge?
is the big chain, and they're all over Canada.
No doubt. All right. They usually work the same way that they do around the United States, like with clubs and stuff. They got the same, type of open mic scenes and
Yeah,
stuff like that.
I
out
would
there.
imagine.
I,
Yeah.
I actually want to say Detroit House of Comedy is Canadian owned.
Yeah, I don't know.
I could be wrong there.
Wow.
I've been wrong before.
Well, they need to get some parking, it sounds like. I've heard horror. Everybody that I've
it's
talked to
terrible.
about that is
it's
just
the
horror
parking
stories.
It's terrible. Yeah.
I love the club.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Yeah.
half in the half round.
Yeah.
Tiered seating.
Yeah.
It's a nice
Yeah.
club.
Yeah, I see you guys working all the time. It's awesome. It's
busy.
amazing to see
Yeah.
everybody out there just busting their hump and doing the best they can. And it's
If you
cool.
can't get a stage, you go work the corner. I mean, you gotta be practicing your craft all the time.
Right. Well, I was going to ask you guys. I'd like to. The reason why I started this podcast is some of the comics that come out here, and I like to kind of pick their brains and find
Sure.
out exactly where it is they came from and how they got started doing all this comedy thing. Because I'm only like going on my third year myself, so
Okay.
it was kind of a cheat code for me to be able to come out and like have people come to me.
Yeah.
And then I can just watch them and be like, "Ooh, that's how they do that, and that's how they do this."
That's
and
smart, actually.
Yeah, it kind of worked out, And that's how I was talking. I'm not going to drive out to Detroit on a Thursday night, to
No.
do 5 minutes in a place that's going to cost me $40 a park. Yeah, so I'm like, all right, once a month I can have everybody come here.
Yeah.
But,
That's smart.
so what was it? What was it that got you into comedy in the first place?
So I was in a women's group, and they did charitable things. And one of the people in that group was part of that group, and then she was running an open mic, and so I just started hanging out with comics for like the good part of a year. 'Cause I
Yeah.
think it was after the pandemic lifted and all that, and so I think that was like in March, and then at the end of the year, I was just like, I guess I'm going to try it. 'Cause
So
I was
you
like,
tried after the pandemic.
Oh yeah, I've only been doing it just over 3 years. Now. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I wouldn't have expected that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I
you're
thought
so
at least a
professional
decade.
and
Oh,
awesome
thanks.
on stage.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
I thought you for sure you were like at least 10 years in.
No. So I just started going to open mics. I was terrible. We all, not everyone, but a lot of people start terrible, right?
Oh yeah, I'm still terrible.
And then I just had different opportunities, and I didn't really turn anything down. And so I've worked with people that other people didn't want to work with, but they would give me more time. So that allowed me to do longer sets. And then I had situations where I did a show, and this guy from Chicago saw me, and he got me on to Laugh Factory.
Yeah.
And then that's how I got invited to the comedy bar. They went to 313. I wasn't even supposed to be there. They said, "Hey, can you jump on it?" I was like, "Sure." I jumped on it. He happened to see me. He was like, "Hey, we need somebody. Could you come do it?" And I was like, "Well, I'm booked." And he's like, "Could you at least just come hang out and
Yeah.
for our opening?" And I was like, "Absolutely, happy to do
0
that."
to 3
cool.
years to be a headliner is really remarkable.
Yeah, you are literally headlining places.
I'm in June. I'm headlining at the Underground Laugh Lounge, and so I know
great
some
club,
people
great
are just
club.
like, "Wait, what?" I've featured there multiple times, and the feature sets are 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So they already know what they're getting for 30 minutes. They just have to trust me with the extra. And I have Peggy Beatty, who's a really good friend of mine.
Yeah.
She's
And so she's going to be my feature, and so we are super, super stoked.
Yeah.
America's favorite dirty aunt.
Shout out Peggy.
Yeah,
see
I
she's got the
love-
podcast too. She got a podcast,
Yes,
right?
Yes, I love Peggy. She's super funny.
Peggy Beatty here.
I'm just super happy that she's going to be there with me. And then that two MCs, I've worked with them before there, and then they kind of both wanted to be on the show, and so one's going to do it one night, and the other's going to do it, and Elise and Brian Wells and Elise Davis.
good.
And so I'm really excited to have them too, because
Yeah.
everyone there's just so wonderful.
Great staff.
Yeah.
It has that speakeasy feel. It's in the club's in the basement. And
But then they
there's
have the
a
study
cocktail
upstairs, which is
outside.
literally a speakeasy. You have to have
Wow.
the password to get in. And
Oh, seriously?
And there's the comics get to stay in a condo upstairs in the building.
Okay.
And it's beautiful up there, and it's really nice and cozy, and it's just everything's perfect there.
Well, that's
and
a
then
far
they
stretch.
Feed us and everything.
Back in the 70s and 80s, they used to have the comedy condos at all the clubs and stuff. Did you ever hear about any of those?
Yeah,
you get some of
the black light before you
Oh
go in. You
yeah,
know,
you
like-
used to have the comics used to talk back in the days, the old school guys, about living in the condos up above the comedy clubs
Eek.
because they would get the rooms for free.
Yeah.
And there'd be all sorts of just
No, this is
shenanigans and
so
cocaine
nice.
and God
No.
knows what else.
It is
going
lovely
on
up there. It's I mean, they invested a lot into the entire building, and it's just, and they're great people
That's
to
cool.
work with. Yeah.
They have
Yeah,
a
that's
great,
always good.
Great backstory. I believe it was a Carnegie Library.
Yes. Yep.
And they weren't allowed to use it for anything that wasn't public good. And
Oh.
a comedy club is a public good. So,
And they bid on it, and it
Yeah.
was like, or they paid $100 for it, but
And they
then they
fixed
had
it
to fix
great.
it.
Yeah.
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 It's just wonderful, and the people are wonderful.
That's cool. That's a good perk to have.
Yeah.
I've always,
Niles, Michigan.
you get some of the places that, they just, I don't think they put enough attention towards the actual people that are performing.
Yeah.
It's just like,
well, see, that's the thing too. Is like some people are more concerned with the headliners. Even when I was featuring there, I felt I got the same level of respect
Yeah.
and consideration, which is just. I'm not saying people treat you bad at the other levels, but there's just something that it's almost like they don't care. If you're a comic, they're happy to have you, and they're just respectful to, wherever you are in the hierarchy there. So.
like
That's good.
here at the Creek, the thing that's great is we've got a couple other people coming in. And they're like, "Oh my gosh, the comedians are in town, and they're here for comedy." Sometimes you show up at a show, and it's like, "Dude, we're eating dinner. Why are you talking?"
right.
I hate those shows. They're so bad.
That's all part of the process, though.
Oh
you
yeah,
gotta
I've
get
done
through 'em.
plenty of those shows, man.
Oh yeah, let's not get into disaster shows.
Oh my God.
I don't have any problem.
We should talk about it because it
That
was wild.
It was actually wild. So, for those who don't know, that I do a little bit of booking on the side, and I got into some of the corporate stuff. And there was a couple of corporate gigs that I did, and the last Christmas one we did for, I won't say what the credit union was, but they're out towards the west side of the state.
But they get no credit.
Yeah, and we had a lot of fun, and it got a little crazy, and the content got a little off the wall, but we made it through, and it was a lot of fun. And you absolutely came in there and saved the day. So did Carl. I'll give
Yeah.
C-Dub.
But the thing was, you're like, oh, you're gonna do an hour, and I was like, no, I ain't got an hour. And then it was like, nope, I guess I'm doing an hour, and I did an hour, and it was wild, and it was fun.
It was cool, yeah.
Carl's so beloved. How could he cause trouble?
Well,
It was the material, it's the way the lineup went. Like, he went and he was picking things out of his butthole, and that may have triggered something.
Yeah,
and then
I mean,
the
yeah.
next comedian got up and he was like, had a belt around his neck, and that might.
Well,
and then the woman is like. She's like, you guys need to clean this up. PG-13 while he's on stage, and we're just like, oh shoot. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm panicked, and I've never been so happy to be last, right? Because I was like, what am I gonna do? Like, I'm not filthy, but
Oh my God!
But
I've never
the way-
seen terror on
I know.
even Carl. And Ree looks at me. She goes, "I don't know what to do." And I said, "You know what?
And
Let's
I just
do what
leaned
we do."
right into it, and I was like, "Look, I am scared of you, ma'am." I'm like, I didn't get a bat signal, but like, if you could just make a sign when you feel like I'm just getting out of control, like something like this, and then I'm gonna shift. I got her to leave the room so that I could do a dirty joke, and she came back and I go, "They loved it." And then there was a pole. Like a not a pole, like a pylon or whatever.
That's a strip club.
And I would hide behind it, and I was like, "Where's HR?" And so I was like, "Oh shoot, she can see me." And I'd hide behind pole. It was actually probably the most fun I had. I was never so afraid, but it taught me something like that.
Oh, yeah, it taught me something.
Yeah,
as
that I can
well.
pull stuff out into. And poor you, because you're like, look, it says adult content. It is a signed contract. Like,
well, that was my point. I
Yeah.
was like, because we did another Christmas party the year
Yeah,
before,
yep.
which it went great.
Yeah,
They loved it.
everything
They
was
sent me
fine.
letters
Yeah.
saying that was absolutely amazing, and we had such a great time.
Yeah.
And our material wasn't that
They didn't
far
change.
off.
No,
It
yeah.
wasn't that far off, and they loved it. So to
And
go
they ended
from
up being on the naughty list that year. And
Oh, we weren't even on a list.
we
Like,
were-
they're like, we're not even writing their names. They are so bad.
Yeah, they're like, we're gonna have the jugglers come in next year because that just did not go our way.
Yeah.
But it was partially. I mean, it was partially my fault. I talked to the people that booked us, and I'm like, hey, we do explicit content.
Yeah.
How far do you guys want to go? And they just said, do what you do.
They did not
So,
mean, but they did not mean do
until
what you
we
do.
started doing what we did, and they did not like it, and that was all there was to that.
well,
But-
the credit union's biggest client is the Michael Hutchinson fan club, so the belt around the neck thing, I think, was just a bridge too far.
Who's Michael Hutchinson?
The lead singer of In Excess.
Oh, okay.
No.
I don't know anything like that. Yeah, I don't even know comics.
All my references are old, but I thought that one was still.
Well, I learned something. I will never, ever, probably ever get Ree to be able to do another show for me. For a
Oh, I
corporate
absolutely would. I just ain't gonna say no bad words next time.
gig. She'd be like, "Hell no, I ain't even answering that
No,
telephone call."
I would. It's all. That's the thing, right? Like, it's all about learning, and that's one thing, like a pitfall that I recently realized, partly through that, and then this other thing I just had is somebody who's like headlining this soon in. I still come across things that I'm like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
I did this thing I did this show, and the stage area is like, it's a long banquet table and then a banquet table this way, but there's people in the bar, but there's people right there. And they thought that their role in all this was to guess my punchlines for my entire set. I was like, me and my friend, and drinking, and what kind of shots are we gonna do? They're like, tequila! And I was
Oh
like,
my
no,
gosh.
you're ruining this. And they just, every time I set up a joke, and they would try to, I don't think they were trying to guess it. They just thought they knew it, and they were just like, and I was just like, I don't know what to do in this situation.
Well, hey, that's a way to find out, I guess.
Well, yeah.
I mean, there's so many dynamics when it comes to stuff like that. I mean, like I think I've talked to, I came from 25 years of playing live music. I came from the music industry, and it's just such a different feeling being on stage as a singer. Like I
Yeah.
got a whole band behind me, so if shit goes wrong, I can just blame stuff on
You're
them.
like, the worst drummer ever.
And I was doing heavy metal and hard rock most
okay.
of my career, so it was
So it
like,
could just
I'll just
be
throw
noise.
a fucking chair
Yeah.
at somebody. But when you're up there by yourself and things start coming your way, and you're just like,
Yeah.
whoa, because it just all hinges on those laugh breaks,
Yeah.
and then when there is nothing there or everything is going sideways or nobody's paying attention, I would almost rather nobody not pay attention
Oh,
than
right. Yeah,
nobody
then-
laugh.
yeah.
At least you can give them an excuse that, well, they're not paying attention,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
they're not going to laugh.
It's good for the ego. Like, they just weren't paying it. It wasn't me. They just weren't paying attention. Had
But
they
you
paid
never
attention.
know. I mean, I always say I had the best set of my life and the worst set in the same night. I did the exact same routine. I did it.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I
I
did
mean-
the 7:00 show, and they laughed at every verb.
Yeah.
And then I went to the 9:00 show, did the same set, and I was a cricket farmer.
Yeah.
Like not.
But
Yeah.
see, that's the thing. Like, not every audience is for everybody,
No.
right? Like, if we sat there and said, "Who's the funniest comic?" 1, 2, 3. Like, we're all probably going to say something different because
Yeah.
we don't agree on what's funny. And that was I got a whole bunch of bad information. Like when I first started, it was like, funny is funny. If you can't make them laugh, it's you. Like all these things. And at one point, I was just like feeling bad because I was just like, I guess I'm never going to be funny. But then you stop and you think, you're like, wait a minute. Like there's comics that I think are funny that other people don't think are funny.
Yeah.
And the different rooms and different expectations and different whatevers. But it just happens. Like
The MVP is the person in the audience, that first laugher. If you can get
Yeah.
someone who is an easy laugher, it's contagious.
Oh yeah, well that's
And
it
it
too, right?
spreads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If people are tight and I think the environment in which you do comedy, like bright lights, it's awkward because you don't want to be the first. You don't want your friends seeing you laughing if they're not laughing.
Right.
Like there's a lot of
That's why
psychology.
it's corporate too. Is the boss laughing?
Well,
the
that
head
was
of HR
what was
is
going
the head
on.
of
She wasn't
HR?
laughing at first, but then we kind of
I won her over. Yeah.
But
Am I going
yeah.
to be written up for this? Yeah.
Well, that's what I said to HR. I was like, so who's getting fired on Monday?
I think she was laughing until about 40 out of the 80 people in the place
Oh yeah,
walked out.
half the room walked. So like a few people
walked to
walked,
Christmas
and then when
party.
the next person went up, then the rest. And so we had a whole dance floor between us. And I just grabbed my stuff and I just went up there and I did this Grover near and far thing, which I have no idea why I did that, but they loved it. And then I was like, I'm too fat to keep running like this, and I just stopped. And then I was just like, I am like I just couldn't. It was so far, and I was like, I just need. There's only this many people left. I need to get with those people, and it just was a lot of fun.
But, so so one of the comedy legends in the Midwest, Bill Bushart.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I know him.
I've
That name I know.
Shout out Bill.
But he is he has a very written routine, but there's so much interaction with every joke.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when he can be on top of a crowd, oh my gosh, it's electric. But I went to one of his shows where the audience was 100 feet away from him.
Yeah.
And it was
Wow.
just like
It's hard.
he was cutting his jokes in half because like I can't
Yeah.
get that same dynamics in there. So
Yeah, that's got to be strange. It's just such a wide range of things that can happen.
See,
it's
I like seeing the audience. I know a lot of comics don't.
I do, too.
Love it. Like I did a show last weekend, and I just got off the stage. I was like, this is dumb. I need to be closer.
I would
'Cause
like
need to
the
see
audience
people.
not to be able to see me, and I could just see the audience.
No, I like it. I want them to see me because I like to do like, whatever.
Well, I guess it depends on where you're at. If you got blaring lights in your face, there's been some places I
I
can't
hate that.
see
Right.
anything.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
I
like-
know. I hate
and I'm
that.
used to it.
Like this, I like about this room is I can literally see everybody that's here right now.
Yeah, I
And
put
it's not like
those
pitch
lights.
black.
I put those lights up there. They're from Walmart.
Oh, nice.
I was like, I
like
have
them.
industrial
Yeah.
stage lights, and I'm like, I'm not putting those in
And
here
they're not
because-
blinding me. Like
Yeah.
I'm aware of them, but they don't hurt, and I can still see people, and they can see us, and this is really just set up well.
Yeah, I try to make it
Yeah.
comfortable for everybody, so it's just not so overwhelming. But with you getting into comedy a little bit later, were you always a comedy fan? Did you have like people that you looked
I know.
like and
So
got
when
inspiration from when you started?
And so now I'm at the point where I'm afraid to watch comedy because I don't want to be influenced somehow. Like
Yeah.
I don't
I hear that.
watch
I hear that a
comedy.
lot.
I never did. Sketch comedy I did. So I love Saturday Night Live, Benny Hill. I do know some of the references. Like that kind of
before my
stuff. You can't do that on television, Kids in the Hall. Like that
Yeah.
kind of stuff I always liked, but I never watched just stand up.
Yeah.
It just was never my thing. And I had friends who actually took the Ridley's class, and I'd seen them perform, and it never like, oh, I'm going to do it. It was just like, okay,
Huh?
someone's doing comedy. And then what happens is when we end up in conversations and even driving here, somebody in there's three of us that drove together, and then somebody mentioned a comic, and I'm like, who's that? So I always feel like I'm always going, who's that? Or like Peggy's in New York right now. She sent a picture of somebody.
That's right, I did
and
see
was
that
like,
picture.
I'm like, who is that? Like she's posed, and I'm like, I don't know who that is. Like, so I feel like kind of like lost. Like I can't be part of the conversation because I have no, like, it's like, okay. But Tim Finkel's fantastic because he always sends me, he'll be like, oh, I think you'll like this comic. And if you send it to me, I'll watch it. But just like, I'm not seeking it out. It's
Yeah,
weird.
Well, that
It's a
might
weird
not be a
thing.
bad thing.
Yeah.
Then you're not getting influenced from
Yeah.
This or that. You're just kind of taking
Nobody can accuse me of stealing jokes, damn it.
right. So we'll talk about you then. So how long have you been doing it? Because she was just referring to you as like watching like the old school.
Well, he made he said earlier that his reference was old, but he didn't think it was that old. And I was like, well, Benny Hill, that's really old.
So I was a speaker for I started out as a musician, and then
Oh, okay, I didn't know
I
you were a
gained too much
musician,
weight,
too.
and then
Right.
I started being corporate speaking. People we were like, "Oh, you're the funniest keynote we've ever had in here," and so I thought, "Oh, I'm gonna walk in here and kill." And it turns out the bar for comedy at a keynote,
Yeah.
a little lower than at a club. But,
Well, you got the bug though.
Yeah. Oh, and so then I work with TEDx a lot, and Tim Finkel
Yeah.
gave a talk how comedy was therapy for him, and I love Johnny Carson, and that's another old reference, and Jon Stewart.
No, I know. I love Jon
And
Stewart.
Jon
too.
Stewart, and so I like that. Do a monologue, interview people. I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
So I thought I was going to walk in and do it, and he talked about he took a class at Ridley's
Yeah.
and got him his way. So then I did that last November,
Yeah.
and a year and a half ago I started it, and the bad thing was in our first class. one of the young comics was saying, "I'm so nervous. I think I suck at this." And Bill said, "Oh, don't worry about it. It's the comics who think they're funny that you have to worry about."
They
I'm like,
are.
"Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh no, I suck."
That's kind of true.
Because
Though.
when I'm writing, my wife will walk on me writing, and she's like, "Oh, you must really like what you're like." Yes, this is so funny. And then you go out on stage, it's like, no.
Well, definitely, I could definitely tell because the first time I watched you, I think I said something to you about the way that you kind of put the words together, and I thought I could definitely tell that there was some other like experience that you might have had in the past
because of the polishness, right?
Yeah. It was just the way you were putting things together. I think I might have said because I remember George Carlin. I almost thought you were kind of like maybe a little bit the way you put words together, not like George Carlin type comedy, but just the way you were able to put words together. I think was just it really caught my eye, and I was like, wow, that's really good. That was really good. I thought it was great.
Thanks. I'm accused of being, oh, that's clever, but not funny. So because I fall in love with words, and
but again, different people like different things, right?
Punch.
Yeah, but you gotta, the clever stuff you have to pay attention to because it might be funny, but people I don't think they have enough like. Everybody's ADD now, so you might not even be able to have people concentrate long enough to be able to put it together at the end. So maybe it's just hilarious, but I don't know. I don't want to call people stupid, but there's some stupid fucking people out there. But yeah, that's a style of comedy I've always liked. I like that, witty, intelligent stuff that you have to be a little bit book smart to figure out.
Right.
I mean, not everything can be, I got stuff flying out of my ass and the doctor stuck his finger in my ass and yeah, I did this and I did that, which is like the stupid shit that I do most of the time. But
that's
but
that's
like
the thing.
Like Ree said, I'm trying to find the right, because early on it was like, I'm like, can I go there? And it would just sap my confidence because it was the wrong room for the style of things I'm doing. So I'm trying to find the right place. I want to be up as much as I can, but I don't want an up for the sake of the up. I want an up that's going to help me refine my craft.
Because there's nothing, I think, more disheartening than being up when it's not for you to be. There's like some rooms I just don't do now because now that I understand what kind of stuff there, what the audience is like there's this one room I did, and I've been there just to hang out, but every time I'm there, it's things happening like birthdays and stuff and I don't want to fight with the audience over stuff like that.
Yeah, birthdays.
I do, and I have tags, right? And I do tag backs. So if you don't hear it the first time and all you're picking up is my second joke, you're like, why is she saying that? And so things like that, if I have an understanding of a comedy space, I have to gauge, like, do I belong there, yes or no?
Yeah.
I mean,
it takes
comedy
time.
is an emotional roller coaster, and you're always chasing that next big hill, but at the hill there's always the drop.
Right.
Anytime like I'm funny, I suck.
Oh God!
But it doesn't go away because
Yeah.
I've worked with veterans who've been doing this 20 years and stuff, and I will ask them, and they're like, "Oh no, I was in Florida over at the whatever, and man, they didn't laugh at anything." I was like, "Oh, thank God, no, sorry, sorry to hear that," but I was like, "Yes," because then I don't feel so bad that other people it's not just me,
Right.
Yeah. Well, that was one of the things, I was, pat on my back. I was on the news the other day.
Yes, I saw that.
For Comedy at the Creek.
Yeah.
So, if you out there watched Channel 10, I was on Channel 10. You can go to their website and Facebook and all that, and it's posted. Anyway, one of the questions that they asked me was why I did this in the first place. And I said, listen, there's open mics, and then you got the showcases, and then you got the big guys that are traveling all over the country, and Joe Rogans and all those people of the world. I said what I wanted to do was I wanted to do something kind of in between as a little bit of a hybrid show. I wanted to be able to have somebody that has only been doing comedy maybe 2 or 3 months, and then right after them, I wanted to have somebody that's done comedy for 13
so
to 15 years.
He wants the roller coaster all in the same show. Usually they try to do a build-up, but
That's
he's like,
for the
no.
audience. That's for the
Exactly.
audience.
And I do it even worse because I usually take all the
And it's just
comics
random.
and I draw everybody's name and I put all their credits and everything on index cards and I shuffle them up like a deck of cards and I draw them out, and that's the lineup order. I've always done it that way because that was the way I wanted it to be. I've had people that have come up here and done like urban downtown Detroit comedy shit, and then the next person that came up has been doing comedy at churches.
Oof.
And I love it, and it freaks people out here too. They're like,
Oh, yeah.
"What
Wait,
the
what?"
hell is that? That first
Whiplash,
person
yeah.
was just talking about this and that." So that was one of the reasons why I was giving them the reason why I'd like to do this. It's just a little bit of hybrid type thing. It gives everybody an opportunity, I think.
Yeah.
And as a comic, you have to have that library too. Like, I know now that I can't tell Menard's jokes in Hamtramck. So you kind of read the room and like, okay, this joke will land here.
I book comics exactly the opposite of what I used to do when I
With
was in
music?
music.
Really?
Yep, exactly opposite. Back then you couldn't get in anywhere. Like
Okay.
they'd be like, "Oh, you have a band? How long have you been playing? Have you got albums out? Hey, you can do this and you do that." And you'd be like, "Yeah, oh yeah. Well, go fucking find someplace else to play because you're not playing here." It's like, and if there was bigger bands that were bigger than us, they never ever wanted to play shows with us. So that was what I'm saying. I got these comics that come in that have been doing it for so long, that are great, and everybody's so cool.
Yeah.
We still got the same little dramatic Facebook
Yeah,
posts
yeah.
and battles back and forth as the music scene does, but it's nice because you don't have 5-on-5 and it's only 1-on-1.
Yeah.
With bands, you got 5 people in a band that are battling against 5 people in another band, so it's all those people with.
We're a very funny community, but also a very petty community.
Oh, God.
Yeah, anywhere.
The Facebook feuds are always great.
And there's there's this weird network that happens behind it, right? Like there's cliques and factions and
Yeah.
this
Trucks
clique
and
has
jets.
it's crazy. And then this one is like, like you could be in this and this and then then it's wildfire. Everybody knows everyone's business.
Yeah.
Because everyone, we have groups and then there's subgroups. And so I'm in a group with this people, but then there's only part of us with this group, and it's just like, and then one thing gets out and everyone's like,
Oh,
and
it's
like
nuts.
messaging and receipts, and it's wild, and it's kind of fun to watch. I just try not to get involved.
I like this people screaming the gatekeepers,
gatekeepers.
and I'm like, have you ever booked anything before? You know how difficult it is to book stuff. You got
Yeah.
people that they show up here and they don't show up here, and they want to do this and they want to do that, and they don't show up and they freak out about this and that. It's hard.
It is
to
hard,
get
yeah.
people together in one spot. At one particular time. People have lives, things happen, stuff like that. It's just like you can't scream at somebody because you didn't get chosen. They got 10 spots available.
Yeah.
It's like you got 800 people that want to have like the festival thing.
Yeah.
There might be 800 comics trying to get on that. How are
Yeah.
you supposed to choose between
800 people, yeah.
800 people? So I don't ever. I'll go out there every once in a while and try to submit for. If I don't
Something.
get it, I'm not on the.
Yeah, I don't-
I'm getting on my phone right now.
I
How dare
typically
you.
don't do festivals. I mean, I do, but usually, like, somebody will be like, "Oh, you want to do the festival?" I don't, because I just don't know where to find that information. It's not like I'm not trying to be something. Like, I'm trying to just locals find, right?
Yeah.
I started older. I love my job. I'm just
Yeah,
gonna
it's
do.
like we're not trying.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with me.
Yeah.
I do this as a hobby and for fun on
Yeah.
the side. I don't have any grandeur about
Yeah.
becoming some sort of national touring comic that's going to be going around.
Yeah.
I don't.
But
I
if
got-
they need you,
I got
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean,
Well,
if
yeah,
they need
yeah.
me.
Shout out to
they
Johnny.
ask.
Shout out to Johnny and Lou. They always say this. Take me with you. I got that. See, Rocketeers. Yeah, I got to give them a shout out. But so I have no grandeur that I'm going to be doing that.
Yeah.
Plus, I got grandkids now. I want to spend time with my
Yeah.
grandkids. I don't want to be running around sitting in some hotel room drinking
Yeah.
myself to death because that's probably what I would do.
well, if I have any jokes that don't work tonight, I'm going to take your advice and just go Sammy Hagar at the end. I'm just go.
I tell everybody the same thing. I say, you can do whatever you want to do here. I don't care. I know the owner of this place, and if she gets mad at me, I'll just be like, hey, what do you want me to do? Sorry. I don't know why that guy pulled his pants down and whipped his junk out in front of everybody, but hey, dude, I thought it was funny.
It happened.
It's a great elephant impression.
Yeah, no doubt. But, well, that's cool. I'm so glad that you guys are out here again and
Yeah.
having you back and
So
all
grateful
that.
to be here.
Yeah, I always try to get everybody back every couple of months and rotate, some new people in and out. But I always get my favorites that I get coming back in here for another show. So I think we're gonna have a good night tonight.
Oh yeah, the lineup is so
You were
good.
loaded.
Yeah.
And we lost half of them right off the bat.
And speaking of yelling at people for not showing up, I know. I told them I was going to get in trouble for this. I'm like, no, what? And I was like, well, good. I did my job. So what happened, everyone who's listening to this? All one of you. I'm sorry. I'm sure plenty of people listen.
Hey,
That's Johnny and Lou.
You'll
Yeah.
never get booked here again.
So what happened was me and one of my groups, right? And they're like, hey, let's all do a show together. It's been a long time because we're all off doing other things. Let's do a show. And I was like, all right, I'm going to reach out to Jason. I was like, Jason, there's 6 of us. And Jason's like, let's pick a month, blah, blah, blah. Like flies. So out of 6 of us, 3 of us, which is why there are only 3 of us in the car
Hey,
today.
that's all right. When one person goes
But I don't
out,
have
another
to. But
person
see, it's
comes
not
in.
my job now to try to coordinate. Their job's going to be to coordinate next time.
Oh, it's you can't coordinate. I can't coordinate my whole family. You know,
Yeah.
just to get together to do something. I don't think I've had a family reunion in 30 years. I can't get any of my family together. I can imagine people that you're not even related to
Yeah,
getting together.
that's true.
But so, how can people get a hold of you, and what is it that you got going on? Here
Just
forward.
Ree Ledbetter. You can find me on Insta or Facebook. I have a TikTok account, but you don't have to follow it because I don't post anything. I just like watching other people's TikToks. So another thing, I'm not like all into the like social media
Yeah.
hype, and it's just look at me, listen to me. Do I sound excitable? Not really, right?
I get a rash of shit all the time. People are like, "Where can I find you?" I'm like, "Everything that I do is only on Facebook." And they're
Yeah.
like, "You old piece of
Yeah,
shit."
and I am. I'm like,
"Hey,
yeah.
I got people that come in here and watch my shows, so hey, the word must be getting out somewhere."
So I'll be
I do
at-
that,
oh.
and then this is always on YouTube. That was the only place you can find this is on YouTube.
There you go.
So there you go.
So I'll be on Laugh Fest in March. And then in April, I'll be doing the Hash Bash at Ann Arbor Showcase.
Oh.
And then June, I'll be headlining at the Underground Laugh Lounge in Niles. And
Oh yeah,
Kimberly and her mom might come.
that's.
She's like, we're going to go somewhere and see Ree and stay at a hotel. I was like, do I got a place for you? Come to Niles, Michigan. She's like, where's that? And I was like, exactly. I go, but it's going to be a great show because Peggy will be there with me. So
Good deal. How about you? What you got going on?
I'm old man
Are you
happy
the old
on
man?
Facebook. I'm on YouTube. I'm on all the social networks, but GT Charlie, Good Time Charlie, GTCharlie.com, and you can find out more about me, see some of my clips. And
Hell yeah. Well, like I said before, I appreciate you guys taking the time to sit down and shoot the shit.
Yeah.
And
Thanks for
it's-
creating
I always
a great
like to
place
try
for
to get to
comics.
know a
This
little
is-
bit about people and how they started and all that, and
Yeah.
find out what they've been doing. So, but yeah, we're out here at Comedy at the Creek 18. So we're going to have
Starting
one
to fill
next
up
month.
now.
So we have 2 brand new guests next month. Next month, I'm going to have Nicole Melnick
oh, I love Nicole.
and Dante Lillard are going to be
Oh, I
here
like
on the
those.
podcast.
It's
gonna be
So
fun.
yeah, check out that podcast. You can get the rest of them on YouTube, and come out and see us next month on March 15th, Comedy at the Creek 19. And then check these 2 out on their social medias and go see their live shows. Support these small businesses, support these upcoming comedians, and just support talent and artistry altogether. It's important. Otherwise, we sit at home and cry because nobody's paying attention to us because we're all attention whores. All right.
I
Some
don't
of us
know.
are just regular ones, too.
I don't know if comedy is the best medicine, but it's definitely my favorite drug.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Just the people I meet along the way are
So,
worth
yeah.
it.